name is Vesci. I played Dan in New Year's Resolution. I was the makeup artist for Cinco, and I created the ghost face masks, Leatherface, and Freddy Krueger in the part 2 of Stab 7. It was pretty interesting because it was my first production, so I didn't really have much experience, but it was definitely a learning experience and kind of a first look of what I was like on screen. So again, I played Dan. Didn't really relate to him because he was kind of a brash character. Not so much a jock, but he was the one that kind of stood up when things went south, you know. But again, it was my first time on screen, so reading the lines or remembering the lines and then trying to make them convincing was a little tough. When we started filming New Year's Resolution, I remember we had rented out a suite in this kind of old hotel like near the airport, and people must have thought we were just like dying because we were so loud. But we had, I mean, the movie says it, New Year's Resolution, we had like old footage from like the year prior, and we all were pretending that we were having like a New Year's Eve party. And then of course it goes south. One of the first things we did when we got there, we did like a kind of a table read. I mean, I think we went outside in the parking lot and we were just talking, going over our lines, practicing. One thing I was not prepared for, I died, so I feel like I did a really bad job. I had to spit up on Josh, who played Will, 3 times before we had a take that was even like usable. I don't think he liked it very much. Neither did I. But yeah, it was very like run and gun filming. We did it all in, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 hours. So it's definitely an interesting first experience, I guess. Some of the special effects were kind of funny. I mean, again, going with that run and gun. When we were poisoned, we just put a little bit of water in our mouths and used Alka-Seltzer tablets to like foam up. And then Patrick, the one that played Scott, he had like veins on his neck going up to his face. We used like Crayola markers and stuff. It was just so low budget. So Cinco, we had, I don't know if it was rented or we just got permission, but we went to this bar in Concord, New Hampshire. It's this bar named Tandy's, and we had gotten permission to film kind of in a back room. But prior to going to the bar, we had gone to one of the other actors' houses, and I was doing the makeup there, and then we went to the bar. This is kind of funny. We're driving around, and she's got like complete skull candy makeup on her face, walking around the streets of Concord. And then, so we get to the bar, we set up, and again, people must have thought we were dying, because like people were dying, and we were playing loud music and stuff. But as far as the makeup went, for me, that, again, one of my first attempts at movie makeup. So it took me like 3 hours to do that makeup. And then we ended up getting cut short because the bar was closing and they told us we had to leave. So that was end of night 1 shooting, and then we ended up having to go back. That night I did the makeup at the bar, but we had another character that needed to do makeup, so I had to do 2 makeups that night. Managed to do both in 4 hours. Kind of impressive. I mean, the inspiration, I was just looking at things online, trying to get ideas. But I mean, a lot of like skull candy makeups have a lot of color. These, since they were kind of like demons, we wanted to be like black and white, very kind of grayscale. And then, oh yeah, we also did, because at the end of the film, one of them gets their head bashed in, so we took like this foam head, and I had to do the same makeup on the foam head, but instead of using makeup, I just colored Sharpie on its face and did the same design. And I mean, again, for low budget, it was decent. Like, it looked pretty good. Typical day of filming. Again, I wasn't in very many, but the New Year's resolution, being my first film working on, I thought this was going to be like, we're going to go film these scenes today, and then like next week we're going to go film these other scenes. But again, like very run and gun, like we did it all in one shot. Originally, when I got to the set, I was supposed to be Scott. I had one sentence, and then somebody bailed on us that was supposed to play Dan, the person that I played, who had like, I think 6 or 7 lines, which I had to like learn them at the table read, and it was a little nerve-wracking for me, but I mean it worked out. And again on Cinco, like I wasn't in it, but while I was doing the makeup, again they'd do the table read, do the setup, and kind of get their lines down and the tone, how they're going to say certain things. But yeah, as far as like pre-production and production, it seemed like that was kind of the pattern. The second version of Stab 7, it was all the ghost faces were coming out as like different classic horror villains. So Josh had me work on creating the Leatherface and the Freddy Krueger face, and that was actually pretty fun. Like, I had to go out and got like latex and just like built up layers on both of them, and like peeled up sections, and then like kept doing it. And I mean, they both turned out pretty well. Like, honestly, I was kind of surprised at how well they turned out. A little pat on the back for myself. But that was probably one of my favorite things that I've done so far. I cut up the, I like built up kind of, looked like cuts, but then I stitched over that so it looked like I cut it up. And then the Freddy, I just like kind of peeled like big wounds and overlapped latex and stuff, and definitely looked kind of like that Freddy burn face. I think my favorite part was being new to filming and like film production, even though it was like kind of low budget, very run and gun. Like, it was a learning experience for me because I had never done it. And now that I have done it, I have a little bit of a better idea of like what goes into it. Some ideas on how to like make it better, or you know, make it different. So I think that was my favorite part, was just being part of the production and learning. I'd say the worst part, probably just not having as much interaction with the other actors beforehand, because I feel like on New Year's resolution, like I literally met all of them that night, except for Josh. Like, we had talked, but actually I don't even think we had met before that. We had just talked online.
Yeah, I think so.
So it was literally like just meeting everyone for the first time. So it was kind of like that awkward chemistry of, oh, nice to meet you, I'm supposed to play your boyfriend, you know? And same thing with Cinco. Again, like there were some of the same actors, but again, there were a lot of different ones. So again, had to meet new people, and this time I was doing makeup, so now I'm like having to touch people and get them ready, and it was kind of an awkward time for me, just because I hadn't really done it very much. So I'd say that was the worst part, was just not having that like pre-chemistry with the other actors. That's kind of a bummer. I mean, I still have some pictures, so I still show people them sometimes, but that is a bummer, because like working on those and not having them be seen in a finished piece is a little bit of a bummer. But I mean, things get shut down all the time for a billion different reasons, so it kind of is what it is, as much as I hate that term. So as far as special effects go, I mean, I didn't go to school for special effects. I went to the New Hampshire Institute of Art here in Manchester, New Hampshire, and got my Bachelor of Fine Arts in photography and illustration. So some of my classes had to do with like 3D design and building and creating, like, some of them actually did involve creating masks. Some of them were sculpting. But majority of it was photo and illustration, like two-dimensional mediums and things like that. But 3D art is always something that I've enjoyed, so it was definitely a pleasure to work on those and kind of have them come out as well as they did. Yeah, working with Josh, I mean, for the most part, I was getting more direction from him on New Year's resolution for the acting portion. It was a little tough with him being the main character, directing, and like filming. Like, we had to keep moving the tripod. He had it like on a dolly thing that we kept moving around. So it was a little tough just for that, having to like pause and then like change the angle and do all this other crazy stuff. But like when I came in for Cinco and version 2 of Stab 7, like the artistic stuff, he really just let me kind of do my thing, and I mean, he would give some pointers, but for the most part, he just let me do my thing, and they came out all right. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching the productions that I was involved with. Really appreciate it. If you want to see anything that I'm working on now, you can check me out on Instagram. It's Brandon, BRANDON _ Vesci, V like Victor, ESCI. I post photography stuff on there, illustrations, and I'm also currently working on writing some short films and coming up with scripts. So hopefully those will also be coming out sometime in the future.